Howdy, how you doing? What's poppin', Royal fam? Welcome back to day two, take two of Royal Comics. I'm glad you decided to come back because this is the journey of a lifetime. I'm telling you, we're gonna be reacting to more of the GOAT himself, Comics Explained videos. Link should be down in the description. Definitely somebody you should definitely check out. Um, like I said before, send me, DM me, post in the comments anybody you would like to see me react to. But until I see some of those, we're gonna be on tap with some of his old stuff, some of Comics Explained's old stuff. So I did some digging, and I found Civil War, Marvel Civil War, that we're gonna start reacting to. It's 21 parts, but we're gonna dive on into it. I'm not gonna take any more of your time, but let's get to it.
Pull up on the time, tell me rumble, man, you know he's hungry. We in the jungle, only lions, no monkeys. Only us and we are moving the plan before the huddle. Bitches by the bottle, price ain't combo, yeah, we hungry. Yeah, baby, yeah, we hungry. Yeah, baby, yeah, we hungry. Yeah, baby, yeah, we hungry. Definition of
Yo, everybody, we definitely gonna dive on into this video, but I had to give one more shout out to the GOAT himself, Rob, aka Comics Explained. I'm definitely a member of Rob Core. Stand up, man. I peeked a little bit to this video. I know. I'm not supposed to. But I peeked a little bit to this video. Dope video. I did not know he had an intro to like his old stuff. Maybe it's just because of this playlist that I am diving on into right now and reacting to. But from all the videos that I've seen before, he just hasn't like had an intro. The intro is dope though, like it's super dope, and I'm super anxious to check it out. Like I said, shout out again. Hopefully one day I'll be able to meet the legend, but you know, until then, let's get it popping. Civil War, let's get it. I told y'all that that's a solid.
So while the road to Civil War is really kind of this crescendo, really kind of this build-up to the Civil War storyline proper, the Civil War storyline itself really kind of hits the ground running. As we begin our discussion on the Civil War, we will see that we will basically go from 0 to 60, that we will start the story, and from the time we start to the time we end, it'll basically be non-stop. There really won't be very many slow moments. A lot of the slow moments that exist outside of the Civil War storyline proper. They exist within the tie-ins. And the tie-ins is really kind of where you get the background story of what's going on. It really kind of fills in a few things. Now, for the most part, we're not really going to be discussing the tie-ins properly. We're really going to kind of be skimming over the ones that aren't really essential to progressing the Civil War story. And what I would encourage you all to do is to really kind of follow along with the tie-ins if you can get your hands on them.
And just a side comment, like I didn't know if, like to add on to what he just said, I didn't know if the whole playlist was actually parts or moments of Civil War, or if he just tied like certain events that could possibly like be tied, or just like, you know, flashback moments that you could possibly tie into Civil War to kind of give like more embellishment, to give more flavor to the actual story itself. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that.
Is to really kind of read about the tie-ins and at the very least really kind of try to get a summary of them so you can follow along with the full Civil War storyline. Now, what we see with the story is that the new warriors have really kind of come into contact with some supervillains. They are trying to catch them by surprise as they invade their home in the suburb of Stamford, Connecticut. But what we see is that they're really kind of caught out of their league. These guys are really a lot more powerful than they had initially expected. And in fact, one of the supervillains, a villain named Nitro, really kind of self-detonates and blows up a huge portion of Stamford. The initial casualties are expected to be around 600, but as we'll see with the progression of the Civil War storyline, the actual casualties end up being well over 1,000. Now, initially, around 60 to 70, or maybe even as many as 100 people who were killed are composed of children. And so from here, we really kind of see this public backlash. Now, after the events of Nitro destroying a huge portion of Stamford, we switch to the Office of National Emergency alongside the Avengers and the X-Men, who are really kind of assisting in cleanup. And they're really kind of trying to find survivors, or at the very least, try to find some bodies. Now, from there, this is when we really kind of get into the ramifications of the event, and we really kind of see things begin to move at a very fast clip. We get a couple panels of She-Hulk being interviewed on CNN, and the way that she takes this is really kind of interesting. Initially, she's really kind of against the idea of just arbitrarily rounding up superheroes. She really kind of feels it's preposterous, but the idea of, at the very least, kind of regulating them, of requiring them to register themselves, and to really kind of be government regulated isn't necessarily something that she is against. Now, one of the more interesting aspects is when we switch to the funeral for the many people who had been killed in the events of Stamford, Connecticut. And of course, we see one of the victims' mother really kind of lashing out at Tony Stark and really kind of screaming at Tony Stark and yelling at him that it's his fault, that everything that had happened to this point was really kind of...
Whoever did that artwork, for real. From where it was to where it is now, like, I know, like, I'm very late on it, but, you know, like, you know what? Good for you. I wish I had something to give you. I wish I had something. Give you a side duck. There you go. Take that home with you. Take that home with you. Side duck.
On their shoulders. And this is when we see the anger and the irritation of humanity on behalf of superheroes really kind of coming out, because up until this point, when we saw events unfolding, when we saw various conflicts taking place that resulted in the destruction of cities or things like that, it was really kind of superheroes showing up, they were fighting the fight, they were destroying the villain, and there was really no consideration for the amount of damage that was caused. There was really no consideration for the possible casualties that had been caused. There was really kind of this argument that the ends justify the means. Now, not all of the superheroes really kind of agreed with this mindset, especially when it came to people like Captain America. But the fact that there was no real ramification, because of the fact that the government had never really stepped in and said, okay, enough is enough, people began to really kind of develop this perception, and they really kind of began to believe that there's really no one holding these superheroes accountable. And so at this point, we really kind of see the tide begin to change, where in the Road to Civil War storyline, we had talked about the events and really kind of the congressional meetings between Congress and Tony Stark and Spider-Man, and the 50-50 split between those who were supportive of superhuman registration and those who were against it. We see the tide turn to where it's a a much larger group of people who are in support of superhuman registration than those who were against it. Now, from here, we see, you know, I guess you can kind of consider the first casualty of the backlash of the anger of humanity when we see that Johnny Storm is attacked in a nightclub and he is beaten unconscious and actually put into a coma. Now, at this point, we really kind of jump to a major meeting that is taking place, and this is really kind of important, because this is when we really kind of see battle formations forming. We really kind of see lines being drawn in the sand. We see the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, among other superheroes, meeting at the Baxter Building to really kind of discuss whether or not registration is something they can go through. We see, of course, Daredevil says that things are never going to be the same, and we see that people are either avidly against it or they're avidly in support of it. There really is no middle ground here. There really isn't anyone who's kind of like, well, let's just wait and see what happens. We really kind of see people drawing lines in the sand, and we actually see some individuals who had previously been friends really kind of splitting up and going separate ways. And this, I think, is really kind of one of the more pivotal points, and really kind of one of the reasons why this series was called the Civil War. Now, from this point, we jump to Captain America, and Captain America has really kind of been issued an ultimatum by S.H.I.E.L.D. as it's being led by Maria Hill. And Maria Hill really kind of tells him the direction that things are going in is that you guys are going to have to be registered. You're going to have to sign up and really kind of tell the government who you are, and you're going to be regulated.
What you guys agree? Like, what side were you guys actually on? Were you on Iron Man or Cap side? I personally thought it. I didn't know how to officially say on one or the other side. Like, I wasn't totally against it. You know, like if I was a superhero and, you know, naturally I came out there and I was like busting some heads, you know, and then they're just like, yo, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and put you on this piece of paper. I'm gonna have to put, you know, write what you do, write your powers, you know, write where you live and all that extra shit on there, and then, you know, basically turn that on in so we know what's popping with you. All right, we need to know what's going on with you. To me, it kind of just seems more of like gun registry almost, because you are a weapon. You are a weapon when you think about it. So why not? Like, I get that you don't, that whole big brother thing, that you don't want people to know exactly where you are, but then at the same time, are you just always sitting at home? I thought I heard something. My bad.
It can either be easy or it can be difficult. Of course, Captain America, who is always on the side of freedom, elects for the difficult path. He overpowers all of the SHIELD agents, including Maria Hill, and then goes underground. Now, this is extremely important when Captain America goes underground, and the reason why is because as we transition, we'll see that the general public is in front of the White House, and they're avidly in support of registration, and we see that Iron Man is meeting with the president, along with several other political and military officials. And Iron Man goes as far as to say that the problem here is that with Captain America being underground, people who are against registration now have a figurehead. They have someone they can rally around. And so now they will not be as diverse and separated and as easy to conquer, more or less, as they would have previously been. Because not only do they have a figurehead, they have the figurehead. They have the one guy that would be the best person to use to rally anyone to a particular cause in the form of Captain America. And from this point moving forward in the comics, what we'll see is basically kind of a rush. We'll see a race taking place between Captain America and Iron Man, where each one is attempting to divvy up superheroes. Initially, they start with the most popular person, the most popular people, Ant-Man and so on and so forth. And then they kind of work their way down the line and they begin to pretty much go for whoever they can get. We also see them enlisting the aid of individuals who are a little less savory, in addition to individuals who really kind of are in the middle of the road and really aren't sure which direction they want to take.
I'm just saying, you know, this ain't superheroes versus superheroes. This is my side versus your side. Like, yeah, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
And we'll really kind of see that come to fruition with the X-Men. Now, as far as the tie-ins are concerned, I would say probably one of the most important tie-ins between Civil War issue number 1 and Civil War issue number 2 is the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 532. And the reason why is because, as we saw with the Road to Civil War, Iron Man had enlisted the aid of Peter Parker. He had told Peter Parker that he needs him really more than anybody else to be on his side. And the reason why is because Spider-Man is a very well-recognized figure in the superhero community. And for the most part, if Spider-Man will go along with it, people will lend a little more credence to it than they normally would have, just because of the fact that he is really kind of always fighting on the side of good, and he is always trying to help people as best he can, even if it's at the risk of his own personal detriment. And as we progress through this comic, we will ultimately see at the end that Spider-Man will stand in front of the press and reveal himself to be Peter Parker. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any suggestions for the future videos, or if you would like me to go more in depth regarding the...
Well, y'all heard it here about what's going on. And it sounds like Civil War's been heating up since the beginning, like what he just talked about. But go ahead, leave a comment down in the description below. Or wait, wow. Leave a comment down below. Wow. Blah, blah, blah. Leave a comment down below about what you guys thought about the episode, what you guys think of Civil War so far. It's just kicking off, but it's heating up already, and y'all know you want to just listen to it. But, hear me out, okay? It's going to go far. Like I said, there's 21 episodes. I have to make sure that they're the right episodes, though, because I seen a couple in the end that didn't. look like they're a part of it. But I appreciate y'all for definitely tuning in. I appreciate the support. We're definitely going to be diving on into a lot more episodes of Comics Explained. I love y'all. Stay royal out there.
Only real chicks got my back.